Hello friends, Namaskar. Today I am going to discuss about Section 20 of Prevention of Corruption Act. Section 20 of Prevention of Corruption Act is basically nothing but a negative rider because the said protocol inter alia favors the prosecution, but ultimately it might cause a great damage to your case. So it is a time to be on the alert mode so that we could understand the problem and could have the proper solution to the same. Do you want to update your information or knowledge on the subject? Then it is the right time to maintain the record. For the same, it is requested or advised to all of you to have a notebook with pen or pencil so that you could update your information in recorded format. At the inception, we will discuss about Section 20 of PC Act. Section 20 of PC Act is applicable only when public servant accepts any undue advantage. It is basically a presumption. Remember that a presumption can be rebutted by the accused. For this, he is not required to sustain his defense beyond reasonable doubt. He is supposed to put in the probable facts so that he may create inconsistency in the case of prosecution and could ensure his winning. Section 20 of PC Act inter alia created multiple doubts in the mind of viewers. I want to clarify all of you that the said protocol is applicable when the trial begins. If you are contesting a bail application or a discharge petition, the section has no application because it starts with wording where in any trial of an offence. And apart from that, Section 20 of PC Act is not having a general application. It is applicable only when the concerned accused is charged either under Section 7 or under Section 11. So when an accused is charged under Section 12 or 13 or 8 or 7A of PC Act, in that scenario, Section 20 of PC Act would not have any application. Now got the point, and now it is easier for us. And apart from that, evidences must be on record that the public servant who is an accused has accepted or obtained or attempt to obtain for himself or for any other person any undue advantage. So basically, the concerned prosecution is bound to sustain the same by submitting consistent and corroborative evidences. In absence of same, Section 20 of PC Act would not have any application. Apart from that, it is required to be proved, as observed by Honorable Supreme Court in the judgment of Neeraj Datta versus State of NCT. Judgment date is 15th of December 2022 and 17th of March 2023. Once all the elements are sustained on the record, in that scenario, the court will presume that the concerned accused has obtained the undue advantage as a motive or reward for performing or cause performance of a public duty, either improperly or dishonestly. To be noted that for Section 7, consideration is sine qua non, and for Section 11, consideration is not sine qua non, and apart from that, it might be inadequate. So, by the bare perusal of Section 20 of PC Act, it is quite clear that in a trial proceeding concerning with offences under Section 7 or 11, the section will operate only when it is proved that the accused had accepted or obtained or attempt to obtain any undue advantage for improper or dishonest exercise of the official function, otherwise not. Now the primary question arises, how to defeat the application of Section 20 of PC Act. I want to clarify that you are not supposed to sustain your defense beyond reasonable doubt. You may sustain your defense by creating probable effect in the case of prosecution, for which you are required to have a proper theory in support of your defense. Now the primary question arises how to have such theory, whether any help of expert is required or we may do the same at our own level. You are not supposed to consider the expert at inception. To have the proper probable defense in your favor to support your defense theory, just read the entire FIR. Find out what facts are true or what facts are false. If entire facts are false or certain part of facts are false, in that scenario, you are supposed to answer them, but not verbally, but in writing. When your version will be in writing, duly supported by some cogent evidences, in that scenario, you would be in a position to cast a shadow on genuineness of the case of prosecution, and ultimately we could have the benefit. That is called probable defense theory. And apart from that, if you are having the charge sheet, read the entire charge sheet, read sanction, read trap proceeding, pre-trap proceeding, verification proceedings, and try to find out the false fact, the facts which are manipulated, and the facts which are giving a negative scenario as far as the prosecution case is concerned, and try to answer them. For example, if you are having a recording and concerned complainant says that for a certain work, certain amount had been demanded. When I had a conversation with the accused, entire conversation indicates that he had demanded. But there is nothing regarding the same in the entire conversation. It means the story suggested by the concerned prosecution is doubtful. In that scenario, we are having another point of probable defense. So for probable defense, you are not supposed to come in the witness box. You are not supposed to put up any evidence. You may do the same by casting a doubt on the case of prosecution and by submitting the inconsistency, so that the concerned court may assume that the concerned prosecution is not a genuine prosecution. So inter alia, I think that I had provided you the complete solution with the aid of example, so that you could apply the set formula in your case and could have the proper non-application of section 20 of PC Act. Remember one thing, if the concerned prosecution is succeeded to prove the basic element, the court will draw the presumption, but to refute the same, you are supposed to sustain your defense theory on the touchstone of probability. If you are not able to do so, then with the help of section 20 of PC Act and with the help of section 114G of Indian Evidence Act, the court might convict you. So we have to be on alert mode and have to sustain our defense theory on the touchstone of probability. And the last but not least, whenever a FIR is registered, try to give your reply. If you are going to give your reply and the concerned investigating authority is not able to investigate on the issue, in that scenario, on the theory of unfair investigation, you may have the proper probable defense as well. And apart from that, whatever facts are available on the record cannot be said to be genuine. Please keep this theory in your mind. You have to work out on each and every fact. Try to find out the answer that may create a doubt in the case of prosecution. Then ultimately you could get the proper benefit. So work on the issue, work on the compliances, and have the proper remedy. So there is no need to worry, just we have to work out on the theory so that we could have the proper remedy at hand. So see you in the next video. Till then, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.